Hey guys, thank you so much and welcome to the Game Your Future podcast. I'm Daniel, and here we're all about helping gamers realize their full potential. And today, our special guest is Andrew Arboe. And Andrew is an autistic self advocate and speaker, and is going to join us to talk a little bit about what he's doing and about his journey through gaming, because I know he plays a lot of JRPGs like myself, so definitely a fan. So, Andrew, thank you so much and welcome. How are you?
Thank you here. Didn't think I'd be doing a gaming podcast. Like I found this on Facebook and I was like, oh, what the heck? I'm give it a try. And then waited a few while and then I've done a lot of outreach. Like my background is in human services education, mostly human services. Like I'm really passionate in autism accuracy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always all grew up with video games. So I thought about it and I was like, you know what? To switch up content and not get burnt out in the beginning of 2016, this would be kind of a cool idea. And also,
Yeah.
I work at a group home facility, and I kind of mentioned being in the gaming podcast, and no one seemed to cringe. So I'm in the green so far. It's a good start of the year.
There you go. Fantastic. Yeah, we're recording this right at the start of the year, 2026. And so one of the great things I think about this podcast too, and just what I love doing about this is being able to chat with people like yourself that are gamers, but are doing just like such cool and awesome things out in the world too. Because part of this podcast is to help just continue to break down the stigma that just gamers are just lazy shutaways, right? Just hanging out in your mom's basement and not
Hmm.
contributing to society, and to break that whole adage, that whole stereotype that gaming is a waste of time. It has never been a waste of time. And even if it is for pure entertainment and enjoyment for some people, that's great. Yeah, it's like saying TV or Netflix is a waste of time too, which debatable, sure, but gaming gives so much more, right? So I wanted to kind of really jump into kind of how your experience has been with gaming and how that's helped you. So tell us a little bit. I know we talked a little bit beforehand about kind of some of the JRPGs, especially. So what kind of games do you play, and how do you think that's helped you?
I mean, when I was growing up, I was huge into Nintendo. Like, I would have been like that Nintendo fanboy that's like in the online forums in the late 2000s. Oh gosh, especially when the Wii came out. I grew up, I was born in 1993, so I kind of was there. Nintendo. I was big into Pokemon, and I proudly wear that badge whenever I work with students or at my group home facility. Like, I wear that badge. Just kind of showed off that. And I played a lot of Zelda growing up. I was big in Majora's Mask at the time. And during that time, my RPG experience was mostly Pokemon, and then it started to divert. I think diverge is the right word. Go into like other games like Final Fantasy. Like I played like 10. It took me a while to finally complete 10 until I think it
Mm.
was 2009. I don't ask me
Mm.
why. And then afterwards, I started to get a kick with Final Fantasy. Like I had 7 staring at me for the longest time until I got a PlayStation 3 in 2010, and I actually during that summer of that year, like I played through both. Well, actually, triple played 7, 8, and even 9.
Yeah.
Even 9. So it kind of just like I always felt like even though I was content with the Nintendo games, I always felt like I'd like to play like more stuff. And then I got breast by Xenoblade Chronicles coming out. Played it when I was terribly sick. Like I had like stuff in my eyes where it's like street dust literally closing my eyes. Not fun. It's like a
Oh,
strip full. I played that game, was amazed of it, and I was like, you know what? These games are cool, and that got me super into it. And it just became like, what's the next thing I can find? And then I could probably give you a question that goes over how my brand and what my work uses with video games. But I played
yeah.
a lot of different games like the NieR series. I'm huge in the NieR series. Octopath Travelers is pretty dope, and the NieR series that I meant and another game that I'm probably gonna mention more in my content is Clear Scare Expedition 33.
Right. That's
Before it got really cool, but I don't want to put that out there, not falling treads. Like I played it in August. I played it,
before it
gave
was
it a lot of
announced as Game of the
time.
Year, right? That's what, yeah. Like I played it before it was Game of the, yeah. It's, so that's
Yeah,
what,
that got gifted by a wonderful friend of mine who's also a
yeah.
gamer,
Nice.
who
That's
also
what, yeah.
looks like the game's director, and I tend to joke him about being the director because he looked just like the director in that game.
There you go. That's
And
fantastic.
after this, I'm gonna have to kind of just joke with him. It's like, hey, how's the next game
How's
going?
the next? Yeah, tell us about the next game. Give us spoilers. He's like, that's not me. Oh, that's good. So having played a bunch of JRPGs and those that have watched the show know that I've definitely played a lot of those. I'd say with the exception of the NieR series, that's the one I haven't gotten in the NieR series,
You
but
should like at least start with Replicant. Replicant's like the first game. It has a remaster that came out. It might
gotcha.
get switched to one, but no one's clear. They might make it into a
Yeah.
game key card. I like physical media, so I should probably put that out there. I like physical
Yeah,
media.
having the
I've been
physical
in the
I'm
collecting
also a
scene.
fan too. Like
Been
yeah,
in the collecting scene in my state for a good while, like 10 years. So I'm kind of like so I'm
yeah.
familiar with the market and all.
And those, of course, watching on the video version of the podcast know that I'm the collector too. I mean, you can see in the background just shelves of video games. That's just all what that is, right? So
Yep.
so tons of stuff. So definitely, yeah, near and near to my heart, the JRPGs as well. So definitely has been really cool. So what is it about the JRPGs that really attracted you, right? Because you said you started Nintendo, and because I was there too, right? Nintendo fanboy, but they kind of moved into the RPGs and especially the JRPGs. What is it about those that really drew you in?
Yep. Technically, I could play like most games technically, and I still do. Like Metroid Prime 4 is staring at me. I want to get to that despite all the reception and all that.
Yeah,
Kind of the pains of it being in development hell for so long. I mean, it's
yeah,
kind of expected. I mean, I played Final Fantasy 15, and that game was probably a roller coaster. So,
mhm,
and all that development stuff.
yep,
But for JRPGs, I think it's just always like the turn-based, not to sound like an old man, I probably am a little bit, but I just like the themes. Like I'm like a pattern person that I've been discovering
mm,
like patterns of like what's a term? I think it was hyper patternization. I forgot the term. It's like kind of like an autism. It's like it was associated in the autism like side of things. Not for every person, because
mm,
in my brand, like I dislike like I don't want to speak for everyone because a lot of the communities is non-monolithic and it's not how it works. Just like every player in the gaming community has their own games, play styles for better or worse. I have another friend that like complete games and doesn't do everything or completes in and watch all the other endings there. I may semi disagree, but their choice.
yeah,
Their choice, and it saves you a lot of stress because gaming communities, there's something. But with JRPGs, like I always like the patterns. Like I just always enjoyed like the stories, even though sometimes it can be cringy, maybe unintentionally cringy, but kind of like it just kind of speaks into like a lot of I don't want to say repetitive themes, but it's kind of like the things you expect in a JRPG. You go save the world, unlike your heroes, fighting God defines a God. Heroes go through civil challenges and go through on reflective journey, especially the Xenoblade games. Also
mm,
Gears and Saga, because I started with Xenoblade and then went to Xenogears. I played all of Xenosaga. So it's like all those themes and
yeah,
like that those like series, even with Braid's kind of not as deep comparison, it's like it has all the DNA, it has all the Xeno DNA, as I like to call it, of
yeah.
like of like all the lessons that you can get. And so I really just enjoy just like watching how the characters interact and each one I'm like I kind of look at each theme, like I kind of compare a lot of different games, character arcs and stories there in the near games because like it's not your typical like JRPG, especially like an action JRPG.
Yep.
Like it just like the director does his thing, like he does not like he cares of the player, but he also doesn't care. Like he kind of does his own thing. I mean, he really wears a mask. And I met Yokotaro in person because I have an autographed NieR on PlayStation 3. Like I actually got to see the man. It was pretty
Nice.
dope. It was pretty dope during PAX East, like
Mhm.
back in 2018. So it's like that why I got really like I've always been like inspired. Like I take any inspiration, like any like experience, like and kind of go from there because there could be a lot of games that have some great life lessons. Octopath, like I know there's not tend to not be a lot of interactions between the eight travelers in that game or the
Mhm.
series,
Especially the
but
first one. Yeah. Those, yep.
yeah, the first one, like there's barely anything, but like for side stuff and all the different dialogue in those ones, it can be very just life affirming. Like a lot of great lessons. Like I remember, oh,
Yeah.
screen crapping this on my Switch. There it goes. Like it just kind of hits. Like there was some side press. Like I remember there was one about this kid trying to keep this. I think it was like a tiger, saber tiger, and there
Mm.
was some like thought-provoking dialogue. I was like, oh, so like I guess like that when it's like. maybe like some parts of the story wasn't as done as well. I'm still pretty hyped, like greatest battle transitions and the Octopath games, especially the
Mm.
second one, and how that game kind of does the finale. Like that's my favorite part in that whole series. That finale is like,
Yeah, I played through that one, so I know what you're talking about. So
yeah, I'm trying to keep my
not,
nice fun spoilers,
yeah,
especially
we'll
with
avoid spoilers for you guys,
for
but
any
yeah,
of the
Octopath
mentioned
2
games.
the
Then yeah.
ending definitely really nice, really fun.
And you want me to go into how it inspired like my professional life?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would love to hear that.
Yeah, because I was growing up and I don't want to go into autism statistics just so it doesn't go over anyone's head. But I tend to be more of a rebel, kind of just doing my own thing. I've been aware and I grew up with because I grew up with all the JRPGs and I forgot Persona I played a little bit too. I don't have that much time. I do like 50, 60 hours per week,
Mhm.
usually each week's a little different. But I grew up Persona, I grew up at 3, 4, 5. Third one's the best. I enjoyed Reworld. I enjoy on the recent remake slash remaster, but probably remake.
Mhm.
And I feel like in the autism community, like there tends to not be a lot of supports for young adults or older adults.
Mhm.
And me growing up, I was like, is this really the way it has to be? Like I was looking at all these statistics about employment. Not a lot of like unemployment rates is not a lot of employment rates is not that good, unfortunately. Like I don't want to go
Yeah.
into doom posting, but it's like I was like thinking about in Persona 3 the characters, they go through this and not being spoilers, I know it's like several decades, almost 15, yeah, 15-ish
15-year-old
years.
spoiler,
Oh,
but
actually, maybe it's 20 years because then Persona 3 came out this like 2006, 2007. I think it's almost 20
yeah,
years.
somewhere in there, so close to
But
20
it's like
for
the
sure.
characters have make a big decision. And it's like we don't have to do this. Even if we're gonna go out, they're gonna go out guns blazing. So it's like I kind of adapted that. Not like I was
Mhm.
gonna in a death situation. No, no. I just kind of decided my life direction. Like, no, I want to do make something of myself, and I like to kind of give back. So I decided to
Yeah.
go into human services despite like one of the difficulties on the autism side is association. So that kind of put me in the weird loop of like being okay with that. And it took me a while. And I used a lot of the lessons like when I was like aging, like when I was like out of high school, like I played the NieR series and how that game tackles like like humorism, like how it tackle like perspective taking. Like without me going to a lot of spoilers of like why do people do bad things? Like the game's director Yoko Taro, he always been pretty transparent that he is inspired by some unfortunate disasters, real life disasters like 9/11.
Mhm.
Of like he always his boy like why do people kill? Why did they do these things? And for the original NieR, it was like you don't have to be insane. You just have to be in the right. And then playing that game and also kind of growing up with all the politics stuff from 2016 onwards, like that those games just kind of there. And then Automata also just solidified that. So I was there before Automata was announced. And I played the original NieR, and then the Automata was announced in E3. Yeah, I know E3. Like that's such a relic.
Yeah, back
But
when
still would have
E3
been
was a
cool to have
thing.
that. Now the new NieR kind of the NieR at that time, Automata was announced. I was like, oh, okay. Okay, I guess I gave it a good time. So I was hyped for that, and no, just like the themes and everything just kind of got me out of the comfort zone. And it's like Replicant's like my favorite game of all time. I
Mhm.
know they like remaster fixed a lot of the combat because that was not the best thing, and it still has the 2010 elements, some of the tedium, like growing plants with some pretty not infamous
Mhm.
but annoying game mechanics.
Gotcha.
But like the
So,
game out of my comfort zone, I got to see the director, and I went out of my way and actually traveled to LA for the NieR concert that happened a year,
oh,
like 2 years ago, almost 2 years. Like it would be 2 years if this is still the beginning of January.
gotcha. So it sounds like a couple of things that really happened there
Yeah, I
because
know I threw you a lot. I
having the
kind of threw a lot.
JRPGs.
So this is like
Yeah.
a full-on JRPG expedition right here.
Yeah.
Not expedition. That's kind of just dropping all these things. It'll be like 20-minute cutscenes in this case.
Right. But I think the point is that so not only was it the kind of the what is it like the hyper pattern kind of just like, and because that's definitely been a big proponent that I've been saying as far as the what we learn from video games, and pattern recognition is a huge one, right? So just being able to predict like what will happen, right? Because you have to kind of anticipate certain whether attacks or where the boss is going or where the level needs you to go, right? So just being able to understand the patterns, it's just it sounds simple, but it's something that like if you're not a gamer, like these kind of things don't necessarily come easily. So like, one of the things I've noticed, and maybe you've noticed as well, is that you're kind of quicker to get to some of the answers than like other people, right? Especially when you're in
Oh
like
yeah,
kind
I
of a
think
work
it's the same.
environment.
Oh, sorry. I think it's the same way of movies and then books. Probably more movies and anime. There'll
Mhm.
be times like, okay, this is gonna happen
Yeah,
here, and then yeah, and after you consume like a good amount of media, you kind of start predicting this. Start like predicting plot lines,
yeah,
especially JRPGs. Like they make it really easy, unless you go really super like niche or unpredictable, like Yokotaro.
exactly.
And
And I think what
sometimes,
you
and
also mentioned,
sometimes on Xenoblade, but I know that Xenoblade series take like themes from Gears and
yeah,
Xenosaga, so kind of
exactly.
new, kind of not.
Yeah, exactly. And then you mentioned that kind of sense of kind of really like achievement and accomplishment, right? Like you say, like you wanted to make something of yourself and really and leaning on kind of the JRPGs because it's this kind of world saving, kind of system where it's like, all right, you're gonna not as like beat the boss, it's like save the world. And being able to kind of understand that this is just like a really powerful narrative thing that's in these games, but really bringing it over to yourself and to your life to say, like, I can make something of myself. I can really do something cool. And that
Mhm.
helps you get out of your comfort zone, right? Because that's one of the things I've heard more often than I can, remember is that, be uncomfortable with being comfortable, which is kind of a weird thing to say. But to break it down, it's like if you're constantly pushing yourself, if you're kind of constantly trying to get out of that comfort zone, because if you're in the comfort zone, you're not growing, you're just chilling, you're not doing much. But if you're constantly trying to grow, you have to be a little bit uncomfortable, right?
Yep,
And
I would totally spoil Xenoblade Free and mention a very specific term, but I'm assuming have you played that game?
Xenoblade
Xenoblade 3?
3, yes, I have.
Okay,
So I'll say spoilers for
podcast
anyone.
nah. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. It involves on the group there,
Mhm.
Mobius group. Yep, yep, yep.
Gotcha.
Yep,
Yep.
another game that got me really uncomfortable. Played that like I played sometimes play games and it's just kind of the weirdest time. It's like a life transition or if I make this choice. And there were several of those games. Xenoblade 3 especially played it during my not so great years. And I played it. So I played that. And then after a while, I'm like, wait a second, something's going on here. Like I was connecting the dots. And then I was like, oh, okay. Oh gosh, like this character. I'm like this character who become really obsessive and it's like screaming all the time eternally
Right.
without me being ultra specific. I'm trying not to spoil, but
Yep.
that game's really cool.
So
Yeah,
definitely
can't wait
check
to
out
play that
Xenoblade
again
3
on
for
the
sure.
Switch. Yeah, can't wait to play that again
Yeah.
on the Switch too for all like the updated stuff. Yeah, but I
Right.
actually will go into that because I think Xenoblade also got, like I really like to travel. I like to
Mm.
travel, like in my brand of I do public speaking, contracting for schools, conferences, and providers. Like I like to do a lot of out of state, like Massachusetts, where I'm nearby,
Mm.
Newark. I love to travel. So get me like a gaming podcast. I listen to a lot of RPG fans, retronauts, and there's a lot of video game music there. And a lot of that is probably thanks to Xenoblade because of all the cool visuals. Even back in the original re-release, like that game is still just amazing how they got that going. And the
Yeah,
craziest thing
Xenoblade.
was,
Yeah.
it was an experiment with Microsoft. Like they've always been experimenting. Like Takashi, I hope I'm not messing up his name. Heaven forbid,
Right.
he's one of my inspirations in gaming. But it's like he's always like experimenting, like even when things don't work out. Like yes, he
Yeah.
went from Gears, Saga, and those. I mean, sort of worked out. Like it's still like the themes carry on, but it's like didn't work out. Nintendo was like, hey, you know what? This is cool. Keep doing this. Well, keep
Mhm.
doing this. Like Nintendo finally realized you kind of let them cook. And for real,
Yeah.
if you ask me, I'm not anti-Pokemon at all. But for real, let Microsoft help out with Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like I kind of like I like quote on like I like Scarlet Vine and a little bit and a bit
Mhm.
of ZA. But yeah, those games definitely need way more time. Way,
They
way,
needed more
way
time
more
to get, yeah.
time.
And that's
Even
what
through Scott.
I'll say that
But
that by the time
let
we're
Lance
talking,
off
right,
Poke.
just that whole because I think Pokemon getting a little competition, I think is healthy, right? And then to the point of yeah, we could go on a whole subtopic on that as far as the whether it's the PAL world and all the like the copycat kind of stuff, but copycat but not copycat. Like the PAL world is like we're gonna do different things that are weird, and yeah, I don't even want to get into that as far as like the whole lawsuit kind of thing, but it's just like you need some competition, Pokemon. Like so because if
Invest
you're just
more in
gonna
a budget, like my brand. Like
yeah
when I'm not in college, when I'm not in, I have been, I graduate from with my bachelor's. Since then, I got more business cards. It's if I, like I'm always like typing, like might as well take the extra step. And because of all the money, it's like put some more stuff to it.
yeah
I
yeah.
wasn't mad, but I tried. Like I like to see it metal multiple different ways. It, probably because of
I think there's so
growing up
much
with
room there.
Xenoblades and years, I'm like trying to see things, see a lot of different perspectives.
Right, because that yeah, if you just take that same IP and just do it different genres of game around it, yeah, just different takes on it, I think
And
would be
also
huge.
may have it more, take more time to develop. Don't be afraid. Like it'll be good over
Don't be
time.
afraid to take chances too, because that's
Assuming the
whether
industry
it's the
won't
Xenoblade, whether
continue
it's
burning down.
yeah, whether it's the Final
Sorry.
Fantasy, I think did yeah, very similar thing, right? You know, each Final Fantasy game is different, and they took chances, right? Yeah, I don't know if you remember or if you played Final Fantasy 2, right? So
The
like
original two or
the
old
original
of
two,
four?
yeah, the Japanese two.
No. And
That combat system is different.
yeah,
And
yeah, like you have to hurt yourself to increase like was it
yeah,
defense or HP? Like you have to like do specific actions.
yeah,
It's
specific actions
pretty
have a chance to raise
unorthodox.
those specific skills. And so like it was a great attempt at it because it's like I
Mhm.
guess it mirrors a little bit more real life. Like, hey, if you do a thing enough times, you get better at it. And you're like, you cast the magic enough, you get better at casting magic. You get hit, you learn how to be more defensive or whatever. And it was like it was good in concept, but like it was not super well executed. So people say like as far as how the stats work and how often they grow, and then very silly things like if you equipped a shield, you had a chance to just block or evade attacks, and if you had a shield on through the first half of the game, you just evaded all attacks for the rest of the game because your stats were high enough. And it was just like, okay, this is weird and dumb. So it's good to take chances, right? And then you get the infamous the draw system from Final Fantasy VIII,
Oh
which
gosh, I have a friend that really likes eight. That could probably go on a full on, maybe like a not a debate, but probably we'll
yeah,
talk a lot about like being super fond of eight. And I don't mind eight.
right.
It has a lovely soundtrack. Like
And that's the
I have
hardest
no
thing
issue
to
if eight, like eight does have some things, and I have to kind of detach from, like Sunni's, like I watched like the Sunni ones like review, but kind of
mhm.
like a retrospective. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like back in those like reviewers where they do like those like 10 different videos on
Mhm.
like a game or a movie or like
Yeah,
sets of movies.
and that's when I was like, I played eight when it came out, right back in the
I'm
day.
more of a
That's
10 person. Also, nine's
yeah.
cool. Original 7 is pretty cool. I'm just joining the ride for the remake because
Hmm.
I like the first remake and Weeper. I just like Expedition 33's exploration a lot more.
Right.
Like that tighter structure. I'm fine with
And what's
overload. Like I
great
played
about it,
San Andreas, I
yeah,
played Xenoblade, but
yeah.
it's like Rebirth. Like I wish it could have gone. I wish it was more fun because part of it was slightly tedious. It was
Hmm.
still fun, but there's like I kind of like the tighter aspects of the first part one of that one.
Yeah. What's interesting, I think, too, is just yeah, how people's perspectives change or kind of their expectations. Because I think yeah, Square Enix and Final
Hmm.
Fantasy have gone to this kind of action RPG style, right? Between yeah,
Hmm.
especially when you get to like from 15 and 7 remake and 16, and it's like people have been asking like, hey, can we have another Final Fantasy that's turn-based, right? Because that's where they kind of started. That's kind of Final Fantasy X
Yeah.
was amazing like that, and then Claire Obscure comes in, wins Game of the Year, turn-based RPG, and everybody looks at that and says, Square Enix, how more like this, please. So we'll see.
I think with Swift Square, it's like I feel like I don't want to say get more people, but it's like they need to really make like I mean, not just that, because gameplay, they've always done different gameplay styles. Like
Mhm.
13 had its stagger, I think it's called stagger
Stagger
system
system, yep.
that they pretty much took over a lot of their different games, like remake, even the remake games that have part of that.
Remake has part of that. Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
16, especially 16, I feel like with Square, I think they just have to make like the story aspects and like or I'll take a lot of like the initial concepts and make it more, I guess like make it more like timeless and like kind of
Yeah,
go through multiple drafts if that makes sense. Like
it
16, I
does.
feel like 16 is like a hamburger that's almost well done, but it's like in the medium. The things I do like 16, but Kai was really cool. I mean, if it wasn't for 16, Ben Starr would have been an Expedition 33. So
Right.
I am very grateful for 16. And 16
Grateful that
has
16 gave
two
Ben
really
Starr the platform. Yeah.
cool music themes.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Away and what's it called? Find the frame. There it goes.
Mm.
But I feel like in that game, or at least how Square, it's like they get some good ideas and then I don't want to say they commit, but it's like they try to focus on other things that takes away from the main focus.
Mm.
Without me going into spoilers on that game, since that one's kind of more current.
Yeah.
Like the first game, like the opening was really great, and then after a certain character dies, it's kind of like
Uh,
it kind of like uses like, are your actions matter? Because in that
yeah.
group, because the group and like I was like playing it, I was having more open mind, but I wasn't like in depth. Like, I kind of felt like a zombie, like it was absorbing like the passion, the like the enjoyment a little bit. There's so cool parts of 16. I want to put that out there.
Oh, there's
But
definitely super cool parts.
I
It
feel
has
like
one of the
with
best, some of the best summons or icon fights ever in the Final Fantasy
I
series.
exclude the Titan one. Titan was kind of it's kind of was kind of mid. I kind of like
Titan was,
Bahamut
but
and the beginning too was
yeah,
pretty cool.
the I'm trying to think if it's a spoiler or anything, but the one after Titan,
Yeah. Yep, I know exactly.
I think that was it.
Because it's pretty like it's they use sparingly. But it's like I feel like they like Square has to do better in general of connecting all the dots. Like
Yeah,
not just specific dots,
yeah.
like everything
I
because
think the problem
everything,
with
yeah.
16, in my opinion, was that they tried to appease to the Western audience too much, right? They were trying to say, like, this is what we think the Western audience wants. It's like, no, we liked what you did. We liked the Final Fantasy DNA. We liked like what you do. Do more is all we're saying. Like, not trying to appease other people. It's like, how can we make Final Fantasy more like, I don't know, Souls-like, but Game of Thrones plus whatever? And you're like, what? There's a few elements of it. I'm like,
Yeah, that's something that kind of have kind of okay, but I also know it's a weird time in the gaming side of the industry. Like the only reason I have a Switch 2 because I would hold it off until a few days ago. I was like having a Expedition 33 level of debate in my mind of should I buy the darn thing or not at a Target. Don't ask me why. I took me an hour. But it's like I'm a type like I like to take on
yeah.
sales, like to
Hmm.
be really specific if my game purchases, and I was gonna
Yeah.
wait until next year or this year, later this year to get it. But with all like the rumors about the RAM, the potential price increases, AI, the kind of driving all that, not to go into the anti like AI type of thing,
Right.
but it's like I
Yeah.
had to
AI
kind of
is
make
great
a
and all, but it
decision,
is
and
driving up
then
prices of gaming systems
yep.
and
So it's
graphics
like
cards. Yeah.
yeah, it's a really weird time. It
Yes,
still has its
exactly.
beautiful ones, and that's what the JRPGs also do. Well, maybe the bad was always a good, especially like I played Xenoblade 2, and that game kind of goes into trying to find a good outside of all the bad things, and then how the past kind of still influences the current.
Yeah.
To be not Pacific, but it's probably too Pacific because that game, with the Xenoblade games, they kind of go over the time. Like Xenoblade 1 focuses on the future, yeah, the future.
Hmm.
Xenoblade 2 has like a past aspect, and then 3, without me spoiling that one, goes over the like a present one. But they
Mm,
all
yeah.
kind of, if that makes sense, I've also looked too much. Like those games are like a
No, that's
gold
good.
mine
That's
of analysis.
yeah. So no, it's fantastic. So I want to make sure we're respectful of time, but I want to make sure towards the end of for this particular episode. So what have we missed, and what can you say, or if there's anything more regarding kind of how the gaming has influenced you as in your professional life, right? So I want to make sure that we come back to that as well, just to
Oh
say
yeah.
again that
I kind of was. I'm sorry. Go on.
I was gonna say, because it's amazing what, yeah, how much, and you can tell that we could discuss this for hours, just all the different games and all like the influences and the inspiration that it has on us, and that is huge and it is important because just having that inspiration, just giving that kind of drive forward, right, to be able to get out of your comfort zone, to be able to do those kind of additional things, right, like going to LA, going to the concert, and like whether it's seeing this in person, meeting those creators, meeting friends that kind of share this passion. And then coming back to yourself and your profession, like what else has gaming helped you there?
I'm also perspective taking because I don't want because of the autism community, like it can be really combative because it has like the past affecting like like a lot of like the different like science, all the research. Like
Mm.
this would also take a while, but it's like you have so many different perspectives. They're all trying to fight for essentially almost the same thing, getting better resources, better research, knowing sometimes a bit different things. But it's like all of them like kind of like they help, but they also kind of unintentionally and intentionally hurt each other.
Mm.
And like I kind of really want my brand of what I do here, to be like a spot where I can reach out to kind of everyone in that community, parents, professionals. Yeah, let them know that that's okay. And also I'm always kind of have like always been like a level, like I've always do things. Like I have a lot of like stamina, not to compare things with game stats, but have a lot
But
of
that's one of the best things that
tolerance in
we do as
terms of
gamers
stamina,
is put in that perspective.
determination, and each game was like it kind of helps reinforce that. So whenever I get home, whenever I play something, it kind of like reinforces that, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
It's rich,
absolutely.
and then like playing like more games like Career Scare, like that game kind of touched me on so many different ways, like taking a lot of the old, does its own things, and it's like great. I mean, the guy was really inspired. The director was inspired by Final Fantasy VIII, all these other games. The composer was inspired by Xenoblade's music when he was doing that
Mhm.
game. Like
That's what's
that's kind of
brilliant.
made
Yeah.
me reflect on myself on because that game goes over themes of grief and kind of generational work of like how people add to each other's work over time with me
Mhm.
trying not to be ultra specific. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that game's kind of a good reminder of what I should be like working for. And also just good reflective if I need to look into myself. When the writing is good, I want to put that out there because some games, just gotta treat them as fun.
Yep.
Treat them as fun.
Yeah, and I
But
think that's what this is all about. Is just to say that yes, games are fun, and it's good exploring why they're fun for each individual because everybody's different, and then exploring behind that to say like, hey, just because you're playing it for fun doesn't mean you're also learning something, and that's really what I love to showcase on the show is just to say like,
yeah,
hey, just because you're playing a game doesn't mean it's purely enjoyment. You're actually
I
getting
actually
these kind of
got one other
skills out
thing
of it.
because I want to kind of also mention Dragon Quest III because I finally
Mhm.
played that on the Switch. Low key considering transferring it to the Switch tube for the get all like the new resolution and the frame rates because it was
Yeah,
kind of frame rate was a little wonky a little bit. But I mean, I played
I
Dragon
figured.
Guard 3 and that game played like a mess, but the type of mess I could definitely tolerate until the final boss took me 9 months to complete
Oh no.
because Yoko and his fondness of ribbon games. But with that game, that kind of remind me just a love exploring exploring because the remake does a really good job of like keeping like that things that people really like and like it's still like and it gave like enough like had like enough modern touches where it makes sense. Like it didn't felt like it was over the top. Like that I feel like that one and also I finally completed a Dragon Quest game. I just wanted to see that because sometimes I just like to complete things. Like when I do public
Yeah.
speaking, I like to like be able to kind of do something different, go to each spot and like do like a check mark right there.
Hmm.
So it's also that just kind of like, hey, I completed this, I did the storyline here, and Dragon Quest III was really cool. Like I look forward to
Nice.
playing one or two down the road, and I have five on the DS. I'm not giving that up because gosh, those prices on the Dragon Quest games is a bit much.
Yeah.
Almost
Oh,
Pokemon levels, if maybe
Yeah, Dragon
Maybe
Quest has been a beloved series for like Final Fantasy, but I guess more casual, I guess is how people describe it. But yeah, it's been
it can
around.
be tough. It can be tough. Like
They
there
can
were a
be
couple
tough, but
times,
they're
like halfway, I was kind of getting my butt kicked a little bit, a few spots, and I had to take so many different, like some bosses. I was so close to death that I was like
yeah,
very good.
yeah,
But
very good.
that game just kind of also reinforcing like kind of like not discarding all the old because that kind of goes into keeping the old and the new. And it's not a bad thing. As long as it's not toxic. More or
Yeah,
less. Like more or less.
yeah. And gosh, we could talk about this for hours, I know. But so Andrew, just before we wind down this particular episode, I want to make sure that if people wanted to connect with you, where can they find out more about you and what you do?
Well, do I have a website, and then you can just Google my name, Andrew Arboe, and that should come up, or that should come up on Google search. I have a website on Andrew Arboe at webread.com on WEEB, I think it was LY, at like li.com. But the most way you could Google me and just put like Andrew Arboe, like autism speaker, and you should find me. I'm also on Facebook, on Instagram. And one of the best ways to find me is I tend to post stock pictures and I've also posted about video game ones because on my pages, I post like what I do for services, but I also want to showcase the journeys, the ups and downs. And I like to showcase. I went to an arcade and I discovered a live Taku no Tatsujin arcade, like localized. And I'm proud of that series. It took them a long time to finally bring that over. And I feel like almost like a proud parent of them finally getting over here. I mean, but the real jump sets, I don't have to go on a convention of playing like the Japanese arcade machine for that.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool, like the kind of how they cool things and discovering cool live arcades. Like New Hampshire has a great arcade fun spot over there. Along that they have a
Hmm.
museum over there. Like they're kind of highlighting a lot of cool stuff, like using everything I learned, and then all the things I keep reinforcing myself, which I'm guessing is guessing it's another trait of JRPGs being ultra repetitive, depending on the ones that you can play.
Depending on the ones you get, yeah,
But it's like
could be grindy or
definitely
repetitive, but yeah, being able
definitely
to put in the work
comforting,
to do that, right? Yeah,
comforting as
exactly.
long as it's good.
Yeah. Oh, that's
But you
great.
can find me on all those pages, and then I don't know if the episode description will have that, but the links will
Yeah.
be on there too.
Yeah, and I'll try to have those links for you guys in the description. You should definitely check out Andrew in that. So the various socials and websites. So definitely check him out. So Andrew, this has been so much fun. Thank you for being here. This is so much just learning, kind of just like I said, just connecting with other gamers, just to understand everybody's perspective and how gaming has influenced you. Just so cool to listen to. And
Thank you.
I do have one final question for you, Andrew, before we go,
Sure. Yep.
and that is, of course, what is your favorite video game?
Hands down on NieR Replicant just because of the impact and just how like it just thought provoking. This just came at the right time. And like those
Mhm.
type of games are like very meaningful.
That was
Yeah,
NieR Replicant.
yes,
Okay.
the remaster, but also like the original, kind of
Okay.
like the one that came out when it was the dad instead of the brother that was fighting.
Gotcha.
Because Square Enix marketing, they didn't think a brother same as a sister would appeal. It's still
Yeah.
impactful, even for the father and the daughter dynamic. It's also really cool,
Yeah.
and also like stand out in 2010. But this how that game still does all the storylines, even with the regional differences and the
Mhm.
remaster, just kind of be like, okay, brother and sister, it's staying like this. They learned their lesson. But
Yep.
like the game's always just done a lot of cool things. Like I always just love the themes. Like kept looking at that. Also wanted to at least be argued by a talking book, and then Laura Bailey as a really cool, one of the best female characters in the gaming side of things, just like re-rating me down. Think Kanye is like one of my favorite characters in gaming. Just
There you go.
that's so good. And
Fantastic stuff.
the game just does all the right things, and then we added like that kind of new content and brand bought several things from its Warborg. So so it just hits so well.
Perfect. Great. Well, thank you for that, Andrew. And thank you again for being on the podcast. And guys, definitely check out Andrew and all the great work he's doing. And I have to say, again, for all those watching, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And remember, stay awesome. And I'll see you in the next one.